You already know that Bambulab AMS can waste a lot of filament when printing with multiple materials or colors. Thanks to a lot of comments from you guys, I experimented with a few slicer settings to see how much waste can be reduced. My plan here is to use the same multicolor model many times using different slicer settings, but using the Tigger model from the last video will be super wasteful and expensive. So instead, I chose this model of the Stormtrooper helmet by Vintage Time Australia and use white, black, and gray colors to paint it. Here's the painted model with the three colors. I specifically chose white and black here for maximum contrast. This will help test the limit of the least amount of filament that needs to be purged to be able to cleanly make the switch. I've disabled prime tower for the first estimate. Thanks to Sam Cooler here, I did refer to this as a purge tower in my previous video, but it is indeed the prime tower, so thank you. Okay, so with supports, this model, the weight of the model right here is shows up as 29 grams, and the amount of filament flushed by default would be 120 grams. Now let's try turning on the prime tower to see how much weight that would add and where that weight gets added. Slicing again. Oh, the weight of the model is what went up. So I'm guessing anything on the build plate gets added here. It was 29 grams before approximately, and now it's gone up to 50 grams. So about 20 grams would go towards the prime tower. Now, as you can see on the left here, there are a couple of settings you can adjust to reduce the size of the prime tower. But today we're going to purely focus on reducing the amount of filament flushed. Let's save some filament, shall we? All right, we go to the Prepare tab, click on Flushing Volumes, and look at the Flushing Volumes table, which shows you the amount of the volume of filament flushed between changing colors. So if you change from white over here to black over here, it's going to flush 180 millimeter cube of filament. The overall, you could go about reducing the amount of waste by adjusting these numbers individually, but I'm going to choose to adjust this multiplier, which is going to decrease the amount of filament purged for every value in this table. So from 1, I'm going to start by drop it straight down to 0.2. So instead of 100% of these values, 20% of these values are going to be wasted. And that did not work at all. The model is completely white with some gray banding, and as expected, very little filament was purged. I doubled the multiplier to 40% as well as enabled the prime tower, and now the model looks great. About 44 grams of filament was purged this time, which is still better than the original 120 grams. It looked just as good at 30%, and so I tried turning off the prime tower, but what? Whoa, that's a big difference. Here's the model that was printed with the prime tower on, and the one on the right does not have the prime tower on. So it turns out it is pretty important. In fact, enabling the prime tower worked well even at 20%, and so the prime tower seems to have much more impact than flushing volume. So does the 20, 30, and 40% models all look good? Well, almost. The differences between the three models are pronounced more in the back here, where you can see there's more color bleeding in the 20 and 30% model, whereas it looks way better on the 40% model. Even at 40%, it is not perfect, but this is acceptable to me. So setting your flushing volume multiplier to 0.4 and enabling prime tower seems to be a good trade-off between print quality and filament wasted.